Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. We've got a really cool and I think interesting pairing video to do today, and that is of our Ornithoctonus aureotibialis, which roughly translates to the Thai Golden Fringe. Now this is a fossorial spider, as you might imagine from this enclosure, and it is, I know I say this many times, but this is a really stunning spider. It really is. We don't see an awful lot of her. The most we tend to see of her really is her legs hanging out the front when she's hungry. And that shows off the golden fringe, because underneath the leg here is all golden and the rest of it is black. And you'll see when you watch the video and you see her come out, if it don't take your breath away, you're watching the wrong video. Right then. So without further ado, let's see what these two get up to. And I will be back very soon. Now here we are, about to introduce our male Ornithoctonus aureotibialis, the Thailand Golden Fringe. As the name suggests, these guys come from Asia, Thailand, and they are a fossorial spider. Now Thailand and Asia in general produces some of the most amazing spiders, and I think as parts of the hemisphere go, my favourite group of spiders are coming out of these countries. Now you can see there that our male looks rather scruffy. This is actually dirt that's covering all over him. He was buried in his enclosure and we had to almost dig him out. He's quite a nervy male, but you can see there's little bits of dirt dust all over him. He does normally look a bit cleaner than this. As we were saying, these are a fossorial spider, so we don't tend to see them out fully. It's not very often you catch them out wandering around, but our female spends an awful lot of time sat in the mouth of her burrow waiting for food, and the hungrier she gets, the little bit more she comes out. You can see the entrance to her burrow there. It's a really amazing affair. You see how smooth the walls are to that tunnel. There's quite thick silk through there as well. Now we can often tell what's going on with our fossorial spiders, because when they're living life normally, this is exactly what a burrow looks like. When she's getting ready to molt, she will seal that burrow off. That'll all be webbed over. You can see our male there. Absolutely beautiful looking male. He's got them lovely cream legs with the dark, it's almost like a dark browny black lower parts of the leg. And you can also see that dark colouring is the same on the pedipalps, but the ends of the pedipalps are a light brown. Really striking looking spiders. Got them dark chocolate feet as well. Now this took some time for this male to actually wake up and start doing anything, and from when you first saw him move over onto the glass, it probably took some 40 minutes or so before he actually moved to where he is now. So we've literally skipped that little bit. You can get a little bit better look at him now. Quite a hairy individual. Here we go. Now this is always a worrying time with the fossorial spiders. When they enter the entrance to the burrow like this, we don't know what frame of mind our female is going to be in. Now this particular female molted out around about 3 months ago. So we're hoping that she's good and ready. We have seen her out and about a couple of times, and her abdomen is looking of a decent size. And it's starting to get that domed effect right near at the very beginning where the thorax is and it joins the carapace. You'll see that there's almost like a dome appearance to the top of the abdomen. And this, I believe, is when we're starting to see egg production. I think the change in that shape of the abdomen, that steep dome side, is where we're putting all of our concentration, if you like. So when we see that change in the abdomen, this is when we're starting to pair our spiders up. It's a bit of a new theory. In the past, we've paired them quite early, literally a month after molting. We managed to pair them, and we have had some success, but we've also had some failures. And when you're hitting a 50-50, there you go, look, he's responding now. Here she comes. She's looking rather receptive. This is good. Notice the difference in the colour. Look at how stunning she is. See how he's holding his pedipalps out of the way. He's protecting them. She is most definitely doing the initiating at the moment. She's very excited. It's not often she gets visitors. That constant contact. Now, one of the things we can see here is that our spiders are quite similar size. That male is very leggy in comparison. She appears to be very, very keen, and he is being rather cautious. And we can see we're backing up the glass now. Now she is a beautiful jet black, and you'll see that where they get their name from, the Golden Fringe, it's the undersides of the legs, and when the light catches them, they look gold. Absolutely beautiful. She's slowly coming out of that burrow, which is quite often what the males attempt to do. They like to get the females as far out the burrow as possible. Just gives them a little bit of security. Slight change of position now. You can see there that she has not stopped tapping from the moment she came up. There you go, you can see that colouring now on our female. See the gold bands on the joints. Got that lovely golden hue to the carapace and also to the top of the abdomen there. You can see the abdomen's looking rather full on the female. And this is one of the things that we're going on. You can see that colour in her now. Absolutely beautiful spiders. Look at that. That is a fabulous looking spider. Here we go. Our male now is starting to throb and shake. Whoa. I wonder what happened there. As you can see there, our female is drumming. She is still fully on for this. He's not gone far. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Something made him literally jump across the enclosure. I don't know whether he felt like he was being backed into a corner. He maybe even literally just saw me standing there. Not really sure. Here we go, look. You see how he shakes his body? She responds with the tapping, with the drumming. Here we go, he does it again. Here we go, we're starting to see a little bit more commitment from our male. Here we go, he's shaking again. Now, one thing that we've noticed here is the male has held his pedipalps up high all the time. Not once has he allowed them to drop. He's protecting them at all costs. Our female is very receptive. It seems to be her that's maintaining the tempo here. If only all of these different little reactions that we're seeing, the throbbing, shaking, these are all throwing vibrations across the web. Could you imagine if these were audible actions? This would be a really noisy affair. She's drumming away like mad. You can see they're both getting rather excited now. Now our male has managed to maintain the high ground throughout the whole of this. Although she's drumming, she's not offering herself up as yet. Yeah, he wants to do. He's trying. There was a little bit of a jump there from our male. Is he getting slightly frustrated? The shaking has become far more intensified with our male. Now here we go, this is better. You get them on the same level, we stand a better chance. Now all in all, this was a fairly long pairing, and it went on for a good probably an hour and 15 minutes or so. And we saw lots and lots of to-in and fro-in, just like we're seeing now. And it's interesting how our male is dominating the situation, how he's staying above her. We don't see this very often with the males. And quite often they're just keen to push them up and get on, but he seems quite dominant in the fact that he actually stands entirely over her. And he has done many, many times during this courtship. Now you can see now that there's much more movement from him in terms of actually trying to get our female to lift her legs. See how he's almost trying to claw her up. She's dropping back down into that burrow, which isn't the best of places. She's still being receptive. She's coming back out a little bit now. Now we're seeing them sort of violent thrusts from the male, and it's difficult to, there you go, he's done it again. And that's a difficult move to try and translate. What is he saying to her? Oh, now she's starting to drum again. She's slowed down a little bit. Here we go. And it's at this point now that we need to hold our nerve. Quite often you will see in pairing videos people hovering above their spiders with a paintbrush or a stick or something, getting ready to try and separate them. Now I found it's often best to allow nature to take its course. You can be on the sidelines ready, but don't interfere with what is going on. And this I do believe is how we end up with decent, here we go, look, we're going for insemination now. He's getting the position there. He's almost there. Now this is the first time he's physically held this female. You can hear the frogs cheering them on in the background. Now we've seen this many times where they just stop and hold this position. A little bit of vibration from the male there. He's looking for the epigastric furrow. You can just about make out his pedipalps are on the move. He'll be stroking the female, looking for that entrance to the epigastric furrow. Now we're just relaxing now, we're just holding her. Now, interesting, you see there's very little movement from either of them. Very subtle shake from our male. Here we go, he's looking. This is so close. You just about make out her epigastric furrow there, just underneath his leg. As she drops down, you can just, there we go, you can just about see it. More shaking from the male. There you go, you can clearly see the epigastric furrow. Now his pedipalp is just above it. There we go, that's insemination there. Yes, he's got it. He's got it. Whoa! Whoa! Yep, we have a successful insemination. You can see there that she is scratching her abdomen. That was obviously an uncomfortable experience. Here we go. And our male only just managed to get away then. There we go. Now that took roughly an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes to actually get to that point. So you have to be very, very patient when you're doing your spiders. Allow plenty of time. There you go. She's going back home. She's had enough for one day. What an exciting courtship. The subtleties of the communication between these spiders is just incredible. And you can see her epigastric furrow there. You can see how it's extended. It's fully open. That will retract in time. As you can see there now, it's actually starting to retract there. Our male, there he is. He's managed to go to the other side of the enclosure. And what we'll do now is we'll just allow our female to go down the burrow and then we will hook him out. Fingers crossed, we'll have some babies very soon. Well, what did you reckon? That was pretty intense in places, and as you would have gathered from the video we mentioned in there, it took probably about an hour and a half or so for these guys to actually get it on and to really get going. You see the male was very, very slow. It took him an awful long time. From the moment we put him in this corner, and it probably took him 40 minutes just to make it to here. It was so slow. Paint drying was much more interesting. It was just dismally slow. But then once he actually managed, he sort of worked out what he was up to, and you saw him go down in the burrow, then it kicked off, and we had pretty much constant action from then on. You'll see how when the female came out, did she take your breath away? I'd be absolutely gutted if she didn't. She is stunning. When she came out of that burrow and you saw that colour and her size, notice how much stockier she is compared to him. He's really quite leggy. I mean, a handsome spider he is too, but he's really leggy compared to her. She's much more heavier set. And you see, as soon as she came out, she was drumming away there. She was initiating most of what was going on throughout the whole of that pairing. But for whatever reason, he wouldn't quite commit himself. You notice how he kept his pedipalps up right until the very, very end. And then finally, as soon as he started to lower them, you'll see that that was the point where he'd managed to draw her out enough, and then she was falling backwards. And as she goes backwards, he's gaining more and more confidence, and you'll see the pedipalps drop down, and then he starts pushing in, trying to secure a decent foothold for them to actually pair. Now you'll see where the males have to work so hard to get that female out of the burrow. Any of the spiders and pretty much all of your spiders, it don't matter what they are, whether they're fossorial, terrestrial, arboreal, they all have a home, and the females don't like leaving the sanctuary of that home. So the males have to work really, really hard to pull them out. And the further out he can get them, the safer he is for his escape. Because if she's enough away from the burrow, all she really wants to do when it's finished is get back to the safety of the burrow. So she's less inclined to try and grab him. So he's trying to pull her out, but some of them are very reluctant to leave. And you saw with that girl there, she didn't really want to come out. There was stages earlier on where she was more out than she was when he actually, mated with her. Now, you can see there, once she starts going backwards, he starts moving in. You can see how his positioning, his posture and everything changes. And we don't always have to see the actual pedipalp doing the work. We can work it out by looking at their body structure and what they're up to. It will often give us a clue as to what goes on. And you'll see there that when he finally did, you see his body go, it arches, and he's now penetrated her epigastric furrow, and he's now unloading. So he's literally, the insemination part is in process. And then as soon as he starts to pull away, that's when she clamps down and she changes her attitude. Now, he did, although we didn't see it on that because it was so fast, he did in fact lose a leg. When she had him, she almost had him, and he did in fact lose a leg. Now this isn't really much of an issue for him. He's been as good as gold. We did try him one more time after this particular filming, and she came out like a bat out of hell and was not interested in any chit chat. She literally just launched herself at him, and he was gone. He was out. And so we knew then that the chances are the insemination we had was ideal. And so there's no need to try him again. So then we rested him up, make sure his leg was good. And then he went on to a fellow keeper, and hopefully they will have the same success as we've had with him here. So even with that missing leg, it's not going to affect him. If he'd lost a pedipalp, then that's a little bit more of an issue. But just the leg, it's not too bad. But I think you'll agree that looking at the tunnel here, this is a really, really cool structure. So you can see this, how the way it's all moved out is silky smooth inside, everything else. And if we turn this around, you'll see the where it goes into the back. You see, literally, it's almost like a volcano. And look at that. And we can see there, this comes down here, and then it goes to here, then round, then down, and then it actually goes in. And that is where she spends her time. She sits down in there. So she's really, really tucked away. Now, if you imagine if that was out in the wild state, this is why they burrow down. You imagine the temperature difference between down here and up here. When it's sort of like in Thailand, when it's coming out at like 35 plus degrees, it's much, much cooler down in the bottom of that burrow. Nice damp burrow. Very, very cool. So there you go. Fabulous structure. And who says fossorial spiders are boring? They give so much. There is just so much on offer with them. They really are a very, very interesting spider if you take the time to really look in and try and understand them. And as we've shown before, we do see a lot more of our fossorial spiders, and this is because of the way we feed them. We've got to let your spider tell you when it's hungry. It will be out, and it will be out looking. If its toes are literally just poking out like that, give it a few more days and eventually she'll sit out on the top. Now she's hungry. She's hunting now, and this is what we're looking for. So we leave her for a day or two where she just sits there hunting, and then we'll throw a bit of food in. She'll take that. She'll disappear again now for 3 or 4 days, and then we'll see her again. So you can get to see your fossorial spiders, and they do make a really, really cool exhibit. Right then. Fingers crossed we get a viable egg sac, and all we can do now is wait. We'll feed her up a little bit, we'll get a bit more food into her, and we'll just wait now and see when she drops a sac, see if we can encourage her to actually produce that sac. No, time will tell. Right then, don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spiders, and I will see you soon, guys.